This is breaking news.
Good evening, I'm Dan Rice, live in Chopper 2, up over Central Park, just south of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And what you're going to look at when we zoom in the camera is a protest that's been going through the streets of Manhattan for about the last hour and a half now, close to 2 hours. This protest started at Hunter College, and has been trying to make its way from Hunter College up towards the museum. Of course, tonight is the big Met Gala. You have the red carpet out there. It started at 5:30. You have numerous stars going in, and the protesters were trying to make their way up to that area, trying to get in as best they can. But as you can imagine, with the size of that event, many streets around the museum, and especially on Fifth Avenue, have been closed. So they've been trying to go through different access points of the park. They went down Park Avenue, went down Madison Avenue. When we picked them up, they were just coming past Hunter College again, but coming out through East 69th Street to get on Fifth Avenue. And about a minute and a half ago, I'd say a couple minutes ago, they entered Central Park just north of the 65th Street transverse. We're going to go in with the camera there and going to show you that crowd making its way into the paths of Central Park, going over there by the East Drive. But as we come back over here towards 6th Avenue, you can see the back end of that crowd, several hundred people slowly marching their way into the park. And it appears what they'll do is they'll try to go north inside of Central Park to see if they can get up to the museum that way. We have been told that there have been some arrests that have been made. Multiple people have been arrested, but no specific count yet. And again, with the trees blossoming here in Central Park, it's a little hard to keep an eye on every bit of the protest. But as you look through the trees down there, you can see they're just wandering through the different paths here, all following each other there. And again, over here by the East Drive, that's where we see this group making their way north. Of course, in the last several weeks, we've seen numerous protests, pro-Palestinian protests that have been popping up all around the different universities and colleges of New York City. Like I said, this one, it began over at Hunter College, which is in the 60s off of Park Avenue. And you can see this group there with their signs making their way up towards the Metropolitan Museum of Art. I'm going to try to bring the camera just a little bit wider for you to give you an idea of where they are. Now, they're in the 70s over here, and we'll go through some of the features here of Central Park, and probably right below the helicopter. I'm going to spin the camera a little bit as gently as we can. There sits the museum, Metropolitan Museum of Art, and you can see the tents are up, the red carpet is out. And again, many of the attendees have made their way into the museum itself, and you see some of the paparazzi and the crowds outside over here by 82nd Street. East 82nd Street, and those closures take you on back towards Madison Avenue, where we had seen more people gathered over here trying to get a glimpse of some of the people that were making their arrivals into the gala. We see more people gathered over here. But again, the one set of people we're trying to keep our eye on now is that group that we saw enter Central Park. Let's see if we can go back and find them there. Again, it's a little hard to get through some of those trees down there to see where they made their way to, but it looks like over here by the East Drive, coming up to around 72nd Street, it would appear. You can see that group just walking up through the park. Again, their goal is to try to get over to the museum itself. Looks like they're trying to make their way now back towards Fifth Avenue, possibly. Let's bring that camera a little bit wider. There you see Fifth Avenue. So right now, there seems to be a group of people that have gotten into the park, but now making their way back out. That looks like Terrace Drive to me. And like I said, not exactly sure where they will end up. It just seems that they've been trying to get up to the museum as best as they can. But like I said, numerous streets all throughout the east side of Central Park have been shut down because of the Met Gala. And of course, stay tuned with us in just a few minutes at 8 o'clock. We'll have more. Jennifer Bisram is outside the museum, and of course, Christine Johnson anchoring our newscast there will give you more information about the gala itself. But we'll keep an eye on it from the air as far as the protests are concerned. You can see them still making their way through Central Park itself. We'll bring the camera back up, and you can see that group extends back for some bit. Again, several hundred people, not an exact number we can give you at the moment, but it looks like when they're all bunched up, several hundred people for sure are part of this protest that's been making its way from Hunter College. And like I said, if you are just joining us, that's where this protest started. It started at about 6 p.m. this evening, and they made their way from Hunter College north up towards the Metropolitan Museum of Art, where the big Met Gala is being held tonight. From what we understand, they have been rebuffed on their attempts several times to try to get near the museum. We have been told of several arrests that have been made throughout the last hour and a half or so. And again, this group just trying to get their way to that area. Like I said a few minutes ago, they came off of East 69th Street, made their way into Central Park and came up a few blocks, and now we see them coming back out to Fifth Avenue. We'll keep an eye on them for a second to see if they're going to make their way back up towards the museum. Looks like they want to go up Fifth Avenue, and that's what they're going to do. But as I had said before, there are several closures on Fifth Avenue, so we'll keep an eye as to how far they can get. You can see them making that turn now. You see the banners there. There is some traffic on Fifth Avenue, so that'll be held in place there as the protesters slowly make their way up. From what we've seen over the last 10-15 minutes, it's been rather peaceful, just marching. We haven't seen the police marching with them. A lot of times we'll see them marching with them. But again, making it up towards the Met Gala over at the Museum of Metropolitan Museum of Art. We'll keep an eye on the from the air up here. We'll have coverage on the ground coming up in a few minutes. But for now, I'm Dan Rice, live in Chopper 2, reporting over Central Park.
This has been breaking news.